beautiful Annie, who is an amazing person who I immediately was drawn to as soon as she popped on. Your energy, I was like, you just make me smile. And like your glasses, I first was like, I love your glasses. They're freaking amazing. Yes, we are live. Yay!
Okay. Oh yeah, I can see the numbers going up. Okay. It's working here too.
Daniela, it's so weird. Some of the comments are coming up, some are not. But say hello or a shallow, because they're fun. And we will. Should I let you talk?
Sure, I don't care. I was just letting you go. You were going. Hi guys, I'm Annie. I am an adoptee. I've met my birth parent. I've been through all sorts of stuff. I was raised by a single mom, like all sorts of crazy stuff. I've been through all sorts of crazy life experiences. But one of my favorite things is hearing people's story, and Tawnie's story is so amazing. So I just love that we get to sit here and talk about it, and hopefully I get to ask her some questions that relate to you guys and to other people, and make, brain injury awareness something for everybody that can relate to, because Tawnie's amazing at that. She can take her story and then all of a sudden she's giving you nuggets of life coaching, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need a notebook. So you might want to get a notebook ready if you are watching us, because I'm sure there's going to be some gold between us.
I love you for saying that. I just feel like so many times with doctors, whether it's, I'm not just talking about brain injury, that you have to advocate for yourself. And I am in no way, yay, Peggy Doo's here. I'm in no way bashing doctors. They are amazing. I'm alive because of, a neurosurgeon. I love medical technology. I'm so grateful for it. But there were multiple times where I flat out said, I was like, I feel like I'm dying. Like something is not right. And to have a doctor say, so I guess most of you know me, but some of you do not. So I want to say, when I was 28, I had a ruptured brain aneurysm. So I was a migraine sufferer. I will tell you, in the brain injury community, that's not all of us were migraine sufferers. Some of us were. It's not enough of a commonality, but we have kind of noticed a little bit. Some of us, shallow sharing, everyone. I don't know why the comments aren't showing up on here, but either way, I have another device up so I can see it. So ask your questions. But I went to work like a normal day. And what's crazy is a lot of us brain injury people say that we're like, it was a normal day, anything out of the ordinary. And, I had a little bit of a headache that day. I went in the shower and boom, like someone took a spike to the back of my head. It hit so hard and so fast that I had to catch myself. I went, and that's completely different. As soon as you say that to anybody else, they're like, migraines don't just kind of come out of nowhere. Like you feel it, it builds up. This was boom. I thought someone hit me. So if something is sudden, I threw up, my neck was stiff, I was dizzy, I was seeing double, which are all things of a stroke or a brain aneurysm. So hello, Trish and Hove. I did the silly thing that I'm sure a lot of us all do. You go, let me go to bed and see how I feel in the morning. We've all said it. And my mom was like, please, I think we need to take you to the emergency room. And I said, please don't take me. I don't want to go. They're not going to do anything. I'll be fine tomorrow. I woke up the next day, still really, really bad. But then I was doing I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was so sleepy, so druggy. And that's when my mom goes, that's not right. And my neck at that point now was so stiff, I couldn't move to the sides. Which now all of those things were like, hello, let's go to scan, let's do it. Even though I went to the doctors and told him all of that, he just saw a 28-year-old girl and just was like, migraine. My dad even said, should we give her a spinal tap? Are you sure? She's that sleeping that much. It's kind of weird. That's not normal. And the doctor, which I find still very interesting, he shot me up with nerve blockers. So to inject a needle into someone to numb them, but you're not going to scan them first. So it's not that you thought I was being a baby. You honor my pain enough to be like he was excited. He's like, yes, I never get to do these. Oh, awesome. So I've learned that lesson. If someone's going to put a needle in you, just be like, I want a scan. And here's one thing you need to write down is this phrase. It will help you, whatever medical condition you have. If you ask for a scan and your doctor tells you no, you need to tell them, I want documentation. I want it written down in my file and documented that I asked for a scan and you denied me. Usually most doctors do not want to write that down. So they're like, oh, fine, we'll just get you a scan. And to me, is your life not worth, like, I mean, what are all these scans there for? What's insurance for? What's all of this stuff if you're not going to scan me? So I learned the really tough lesson of having to advocate for yourself. And that wasn't the only time. Sorry, I get all over the place with my story. Like, oh, because I forget who doesn't know it and who does. But every time I tell it, someone's like, I heard something different. So,
okay. I'm going to pause you for a second before you go forward in it. Cause I want to like go to the beginning before we go like deeper into recovery. Okay. So
keep me on track.
Suffered from, you're fine. You're perfectly on track. I suffered from migraines like as a kid. I had like what they would diagnose me as pediatric migraines. Did you like, so I'm going to ask a couple questions and then answer. So did you like have migraines as a kid? And do you think that that's why you reacted the way you did? Or like, and then talk a little bit about why you wouldn't want to go to the hospital with a migraine, because as somebody who's been in the hospital with a migraine, like
it's so I started getting migraines at 15. My mom didn't start getting migraines till she was in her 30s. So I did go get scanned. I had a neurologist, was on different kinds of medication for it. And that is 100% why I didn't go. I literally thought that I said, I'm 28 now. You're almost 30. Mom's migraines didn't start till she was 30. So this is just your next level. This is just, and my mom throws up from the migraines. My brother throws up from the migraines. A lot of people, it's a very common thing. So, you know, how I looked at it, and also because I heard brain aneurysm, I've heard stroke, but first of all, I didn't know you could have a stroke in your brain. And a lot of people like, I don't understand, how'd you have a brain aneurysm and a stroke? I go, they're all medical terms. I was like, it's a different wording for one thing. Like a ruptured brain aneurysm, a stroke is that an artery ruptured. So that's an artery in my brain ruptured instead of in my heart. So I think that's 100% why I didn't want to go, because I'm always very sensitive to sounds and light. But this was completely different. And I know that now because like today I'm fighting a migraine, and I literally have to, every time I have one now, it's very natural for all of us. The first thought is, oh God, it's happening again. Like, oh my God. And so, but I now have panic attacks and other things. I luckily have realized I go into the mirror and I literally look at my eyes, because my left eye was the one that crossed in, and you can tell when I have a migraine, it's like way smaller. It's my wonky eye. It's my showing eye. It tells, you can tell how I'm feeling. And, so now like I go and I check that. I'm like, this didn't happen immediately. You're not throwing up. You're not so sensitive to light. Like this is just a migraine, not a brain aneurysm. So, but what sucks is I actually don't know if you've had probably MRIs, right?
Mm-mm. Nope. So they diagnosed me as a kid and just prescribed meds to me, and have never done, like I've never even had follow-up work done on my migraines.
Okay, I'm going to tell right now, you need to go and get a neurologist. I mean, I know it's during COVID, so everyone's like, yeah, most doctors are not taking new patients, which, I mean, that's a whole other discussion.
Listen, we can talk about healthcare, but I basically live in Iowa.
But I've heard more and more brain injury. Like I'm still learning more, I swear, because of talking to other brain injury survivors about mine. And like getting multiple opinions, because what sucks is my neurologist out in Ohio, he ordered an MRA in February, and I had my aneurysm in May. In February, they would have found it. They would have seen the malformation, and they would have been able to stop it before it ruptured. But the insurance, because my doctor, when I finally saw him, he's like, why didn't you have that scan? We could have stopped this. I go, my insurance told me they weren't covering it. I was too young. I couldn't pay $500. I was like, I'm a freaking college student. Like, I was like, they say I'm too young, I'm too young. But he says that now he uses my case all the time when they argue, saying there's no reason for this because he lost his mom and his aunt to it. So he's like, because I guess everybody's like, why would you even scan someone like that? He's like, she's been having migraines since she was 15. We've done all these other scans. Why would we not do one? And I think the difference with the MRA is that they do like a contrasting. So like everything is like glowed up. If someone's medical,
kind of like a CT. I don't know if you've ever had a CT, like where they inject the dye like that, but for your brain. Okay.
I had all that because I had a freak when I was 15. I had to have my gallbladder removed, but they didn't know what was wrong with me. So like I went into the hospital and they did like all different kinds of scans and didn't find anything. Like, well, besides the gallbladder, but they didn't find anything in my head.
The first time I had ovarian cysts, like they could not believe I was like, oh gosh, like 16 maybe. And like it ruptured. So I was in just like unbelievable pain. And they just could not fathom like what was going on with me. They asked me, kept taking my mom out of the room, be like, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I was like, I'm sure I'm not pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not pregnant. I'm not.
Like, just listen to me.
They were like appendicitis, everything. Nope. It like my mom had to be like, I had to go to my gynecologist 3 times and he finally had to call the ER and have them do a like interuterine whatever, like the ultrasound that goes like inside.
Yes.
There. I don't know what the word is for that to figure it out. But like that was traumatic at 16. Like I would not have known to advocate for that. I probably wouldn't have pushed it. I just would have been like, okay, I'm just in pain. And that's just such a lesson. So like if you have migraines and you're listening to this, like this is such a lesson to me to go get checked out. But like if you've had headaches and you just thought they were headaches and like you have any of the things we've talked about, you probably have migraines. They're probably not just headaches.
And I don't like to skip because I have a lot of people will like message me. They're like, I'm having lots of migraines. Like, do you think? And I'm like, I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I am a mermaid. Like, you need to go get checked. And I always tell people they're like, if I just don't know. I'm like, you would rather be wrong about this and alive than be like, because it hit me really hard because like a month after I got out of the hospital, like one of my really good friends who he's Hawk from the remember in the 80s Gladiators, the American Gladiator guys.
Oh, so like, oh my god.
You're all good. And I'm going to answer your question, Trish, in just a second. Long story short, he was in peak physical health, said, I'm not feeling too well. Let me just go to sleep. Died in his sleep. So I just really, I'm like, we can't. And I feel like we all do that, though. I find myself still sometimes, I'm like, we'll just see. Like, I'm like, so now I have to rationalize. I'm like, how bad do we really feel? Like, do we need to go to the doctors? Do you need to go to the hospital? Do you need, and I'm telling you, your normal doctor might not, you might have to look for yourself, which is very frustrating. Like, oh no, that went down. Urgh.
Can you hear me?
Sorry. I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. It's a weird color on our thing.
Sugar.
answer a question.
Oh yeah, there we go. She said, did you ever black out totally from your stroke aneurysm? I've always wondered this. I did not. I was cognizant of it all. Like it just hurt so bad. And like, I look back now and it's very weird. And that's why I was on, anti-seizure meds, was because I did have like a small seizure in the bathtub. And I don't know why. I was just like, oh my God, this hurts so bad. Oh my God. And I was like, I rationalized to myself, like, you're just in pain. And now looking back at it, I'm like, you were having a seizure in the bathtub. And then you just were like, it's okay. Like, let me just see how I feel. Because I don't like going to the doctors. Like, I don't like the doctors. They scare me already. And then this whole situation happened. So they misdiagnosed me at the first hospital and then I went to go see my neurologist and he misdiagnosed. No, I didn't see him in person. Sorry. I went to my regular doctor and he prescribed me this one shot and I took that. And I still am just like, why was everybody's answer, let's just inject you with things? Like, why wasn't anyone like, let's see what's going on up there?
So how long ago was this exactly now?
So it's been 4 years. We call it our stroke anniversary or your anniversary because of aneurysm. And I celebrate so it happened on the 5th and I didn't have surgery till the 12th. And that whole time I was bleeding because I think a lot of people, when they see me, they're like, they always say, oh, you must have caught it before. Like, you're so lucky. I go, no, not only was it not caught, it was misdiagnosed for a whole week. And they said when they went in to scan me that I was still rupturing. He's like, so you were bleeding that entire time. Like, the way that I've recovered is a complete miracle. So that's why I feel like I like to advocate so much. And I'm so grateful that I can speak up for so many of us who can't, who lost that ability. It was really hard in the ICU. They had us all in a big room where there was just sheets, basically, like where they pull them. So I could hear them, and they have to ask you, and it's the weirdest thing to hear. You're like, I'm great. Like I remember the life flighting. I remember getting life flighted to the hospital. The weirdest thing is I remember seeing all these doctors, and there's this, and someone's like, I bet you it was your just like psyche, but this really attractive Italian doctor guy that I swear, and he's shown me pictures of everyone who was there. He's like, that he was a nurse and I thought he was like a doctor, and they were like, no. So like, I don't know, whatever, weird thing. I just imagine
you had your own McDreamy going.
Exactly. He was just like, you're gonna be okay, it's good, what next? Like, and weird questions, they're not used to younger kids. So like, I remember my piercings, like I was like, I can't get this out. Like, they pierced it in there, like I don't know how to get that out. And the girl, she's like, well, we might have to cut it. I was like, well, then when am I going to be able to put that back in? And they're like, I don't think you realize like what's going on in your brain right now. Like, you're worried about a piercing.
That would be me.
You're like, and I think that's what kept happening is I luckily was not really fully grasping what was going on. I was just like, oh, cool. I'm finally someone's helping me, and I'm like getting the help I need. So when I woke up, the first thing I did do was check my head. I did not have to have a craniotomy. They didn't, I did this to myself, and I actually did this because they thought I needed to have another surgery. And I was like, I'm going to shave my head. Nobody else is. And I will tell you, I did not like it at first. I cried. I was like, oh my God, I look so ugly. Like, I freaked out. Also, my friend we bicked it down. So like, I'm just going to say, it looks better when there's a little bit of hair. You guys have seen when I totally put it down. It's like my mom's like, I just don't like how bald it is. It's just like a little too much. Oh no, we lost Annie.
Sorry, I'm coming back. That's Am I back?
Okay, good.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
You're back. You're back.
Okay,
sorry.
Hello.
So feel free to ask any questions. We're talking about brain injury. And if you're on Instagram and you can't see who I'm talking to, go over to YouTube or Facebook so you can see Annie. Oh no, she's gone. You might have to close out and come back in because you're still just a black screen. There. Oh, I was like, she's there. Oh. Hi, Bethany. Oh, thank God for this keto up. You guys, my head was hurting. I'm going to wait, Penny, to answer your question until Annie is back there. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She is.
Do you think that Dale would like see that I'm live? I mean, maybe possibly, but no.
No. Do you know how many times, like, Patrick, I'm like, and he doesn't call me. I'm like, why are you calling? Like, come in here. Like, that's him. He was like, are you like,
he calls me 3 times. He calls me twice on the phone just now. I decline both. And then he starts calling me on Facebook. Like, look at my Facebook. Hi, Dale. Hope you see this.
I'm sorry, guys. Some people are saying it's booting them off. I don't know with this technology. We're trying it. We'll do another. Trust me, you're not getting me and Annie. Yeah. It's gonna,
We'll do a few more of these. We'll do like a makeup session one time. We'll do all sorts of fun stuff. Yes. So wait.
So someone asked.
Answer question. No, you answer the question. I don't want to forget people's questions.
Said, I suffer from migraines, have so many years. The longest one I had lasted 14 days. Each day was a different pain level and varying degrees of other symptoms, but it lasted 14 days. I bought myself a genuine Baltic amber necklace in October and haven't had one since. Say what? So genuine Baltic amber necklace. And she said, I know it won't work for everyone, but if the information helps anyone, I feel I need to share it. The most important thing is to make sure it's genuine Baltic amber. I got mine from a shop on Etsy called Cannon Leaf. Best $40 I ever spent. Penny, will you send me that in a message so that after this is done, I can post it in the info too and give it to anybody. So anybody here, if you heard that, I know a lot of us have heard about the dates piercing. I still haven't gotten that. Do you have that?
Mm-hmm.
Did it help?
Mine, I don't think they placed mine right. Like, I got it for like fun, not for the function. I don't think she hit the pressure point correctly. So, but when I press on it with the piercing, I do get like some relief because I can kind of hit the pressure point a little bit better. It doesn't like solve my migraine by any means, but it definitely like helps. It just provides like a little bit of that, like, you know, it gets really tight sometimes.
Yes.
It relieves that like tightness through here. And
if you're having trouble on Facebook, on YouTube, Peggy's like, it hasn't kicked me off once. I'm like, me and Mark Zuckerberg, if I ever meet him, I'm punching him in the face. I'm sorry. I'm so mad. It's happening. My mom always jokes. She's like, are you sure you didn't like date him or something and make him mad? Because I swear my page has so much problems. Okay, yeah. So you can, it wasn't a question, but it was like a big paragraph.
Well,
so.
I'm really excited. I love crystals. So like, I'm going to go buy one right now. Can I buy a crown? Can somebody make me a crown of that? Somebody watch this and make us crowns of that, please.
Yo, my God. I should ask her. So where I get my crowns from and the crystals, I love it. She's making fairy wings now, so I can finally be the magical mermaid unicorn that we've always wanted to be, like fairy unicorn mermaid.
Okay, speaking of that, you yesterday, I don't know, on one of your bajillion lives, I don't remember what you were saying, which one it was, but I popped on, you were talking about like, you said this and it just like gave me full chills. You were like, you now see me swimming in the sea. And just now when you were talking about being in that room, it's so funny because to me, it like, and I'm looking at your fish tank behind you, but like when you were in that ICU and like having that happen, like it almost sounds to me like a fish tank. And now like all of a sudden you're like swimming in the sea. So can you like reiterate like what you said about people seeing you now swimming in the sea? Because it was like,
so because I didn't document, and I'm so sad that I don't have I don't want to say how bad I was, because I think everyone, they're just like, oh, you were just fine right away. And I did recover very fast. I know there are so many who are still working, you know, like everyone usually says, oh, you have your smile. That's great. Like, I'm like, I didn't have to relearn how to smile. Like, luckily, mine were not really anything physical except for how stiff my neck was. But we'll talk about that in a second. Tawnie getting sidetracked. Was when I woke up from everything and she was asking me, they ask you, do you know what your name is? Do you know who the president is? Do you know where you are? Do you know what date it is? And then they would, you know, like, can you squeeze your hands, lift your hands up, your feet? And I did them the first time and I messed up the dates. Like, I was way off. And I think something else wasn't that great, but they were like, oh. And she asked me then again later in the night, and she goes, and I was like irritated, like, seriously, why are we doing this again? And she was like, well, as the blood is breaking up in your brain, there's going to be changes. And I was like what? And she's like, it's just, you know, things could change, so you need to let us know if anything happens. And it's like hearing that I know my name right now, but in an hour I might not. And that's the scariest thing to ever. So I really took to like social media to just like document. I was so worried that I wouldn't remember who I was, that like, because I could hear people, I could hear them ask everybody else, like, you know, can you lift your leg? And I could see them not being able to do that. And it was like, oh, thank God I can do that right now. But oh my God, what if I can't do that later? And I think it was on the second day I woke up and I could hear the nurses who were across the room, but they were in my ear, like right here. And I was like, I'm hearing like my hearing's off, something's different. And they do this, which I know you can't help your faces, but I feel like they need to take some acting class or something and learn to not do the, I'm going to document that. And I was like, is that bad? And she's like, it's not anything. It's just, it's different. And that's what you have to start hearing, is just how different it is. And every day laying in that bed, because I had to be hooked up to everything. You weren't allowed. They're like, you just had brain surgery. So I was like, I'm okay to walk to the bathroom. And they're like, around you, because, if you pass out, or like someone asked if I would just get lightheaded. And I was just like, what if I don't get to do all these things? So now that's why, like, I push myself so hard to do these crazy things, like be in my mermaid tail, because it's like, I can show everybody else, like, I got told you are not going to do a lot. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that. So every time I'm swimming in that tail, I'm like, look at me swimming in the freaking ocean right now. Like, I was told I shouldn't be alive. I should be in a wheelchair. But I survived through that for some freaking miracle. And I didn't say it as impactful as I did yesterday. I don't know.
No, that had so much impact. That was so good. You just,
But so it's been hard, and it wasn't easy. Like, I played water polo and I was on swim team, so I was a great swimmer. But I will tell you, mermaiding is not easy, even if you don't have a brain injury. It's not beautiful. It's not beautiful all the time. In fact, I want my one friend to clip together like all the bad parts, where it's just like a reel of me just getting my butt handed to me. Because it helps, though. It helps having something, a silly outlet, because it was so hard going right back into work and special education, and just be reminded of how I wasn't that person anymore. Like, I was struggling. I couldn't, before, when a kid was having like, I knew what to do. It was like a math equation. This happened. This is what needs to happen. And after that, now I have freaking anxiety. A kid is I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Whoa, someone tell me. I don't know. So I really just clung to mermaiding, because it was like, there's no one to compare it to. You can't say, well, you used to be like this. It used to be this way. Well, I never was a freaking mermaid. So everything's new. It's all a new experience. Like,
that's so, and like the fun, it's finding the fun in things. And sometimes I think it's really easy to forget that. That was actually one of our big like mentors on our group of lovely people was talking to me yesterday, and that's like my homework assignment from her for the weekend, is to find what's fun for me again. And I was like, well, I know who to ask for help with that.
I'm gonna say, well, you've been talking about crystals, and whenever you talk about them, you smile.
I do. I love crystals, dude. I love crystals. I think I'm gonna have to order a crown. I'm gonna do a lot of things this weekend that are just a little extra, but that's fine. You deserve it. And like, you were talking about, like, people told you couldn't do things. Now you're doing things. No one can. Like, no one can be a mermaid, but you are.
Oh no!
I'm so sorry, you guys. But like, I lost my train of thought. But it's about like doing the things that people say you can't, but even do the things that aren't impossible. Be two things at the same time. I don't know. Ride unicorns. I just love that you made that post the other day, and I was like, yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted to do it. Like, and I know that and I get to some people, it's like, because I don't always feel great. Like, I know that social media is what you have, and it's only the iceberg analogy is what I always try to tell people. And you might not be seeing everything. You might be seeing something I posted from a while ago. Like, so there's a lot of times, like, thank God Annie was okay with me being late. I was like, I am struggling. My head hurts so bad right now. I don't think I can do this. I have to go lay down. I know I was up. I had all the makeup on, laying there. Like, Patrick's like, what are you doing? I was like, my head hurts so bad. I just need to lay here. And I feel like the mermaiding for me also helps remind me that, like, you do have magic. You are that magical person. Like, and I'll be like, look at you on a freaking unicorn. Now, mind you, I will be posting how that happened. It was maybe 2 or 3 seconds. And my brother's trying to hold, like, his hands kind of there because I'm bareback in a tail on a frickin' horse. And like my parents, we're not like, let's pull the horse into its own stable so it's away from everyone else. No, there's 2 other horses there. And it was just crazy. And like, I know that someone would be like, if you had a head injury, why would you do that? It's like, because I wanted to do it. And you know what? Maybe in 5 years or something, I have another brain surgery and I can't do that. I will look back at that picture and I will be so proud that I did that. Like,
why the shell not?
Why the shell not? I freaking love you for that.
Oh my gosh, I just made myself
It's not done. It isn't done. And I know that that's why I said, I was like, there's no reason that I came out of this so okay if it wasn't for I've always been loud. So I was like, you guys who don't want to speak or want to speak up. And the coolest thing actually in the brain injury community has been the amount of people who feel comfortable enough. They're like, this is the first time I've told my story, or this is the first time I have, even thought about it. A lot of us don't want to rehash that a lot. I mean, I remember when I got my tattoo, I was like, I just wanted, it's a brain blowing up and turning into ravens. I can never show it right. And then aneurysm. And he was like, let's put survivor. And I told him, I was like, I'm not a survivor. He was like, what? I was like, I didn't have a choice in the matter. They just were like, your brain is bleeding. And then they did surgery. Like other brain injury survivors, they have to have, I can't imagine the stress. Like Maddie, they found her AVM and she had to make the decision. Do I have surgery? Do we just wait and hope it never pops? Do I live my life? And some of us they're walking around with literally a ticking time bomb and they have to go through every day and just hope that you're okay. And I can't imagine that. So I didn't feel like a survivor. And I feel like a lot of us have a hard time, or you don't want to think about it. Like some people, like, I don't even say I had a stroke. Like, I think it's crazy that you mention it. I was like, I mention it because the amount of people who are shocked that I had one so young, and I'm not the youngest, is the reason I have to mention it. Like my brother jokes when we're at the grocery store. He's like, I was like checking out and talking to the lady. He's like, how in a 2-minute interaction did you manage to bring up your brain injury? You found out about her family. Like, I go, I don't know. I just like, yes, you just talk. Like,
I just talk. I think there's so much deeper than that too. I think just in like the brain injury community, I think in like the social media world, people are starting to step into their power. And it's been so cool as 2020, as everybody got withdrawn and got more comfortable on Zooms and on cameras. I think people are creating so much space for so much stories. Like, first of all, I just think you got to remember to give yourself space for your story, girl. Like doesn't matter if it's perfect or it fits into the right narrative. It's your story. It's in the perfect narrative. It's in the perfect time. And like, that goes for everybody. Even if you don't have an aneurysm, that you could have anything. You could walk out the door, fall down on some dog poop and like die. Like that'd be it. Like, and like, silliest things that happen.
What I keep saying to everybody right now is that we all lived through a pandemic. We're all still living through it. So we are all survivors. Whether, yes, some people, everybody is struggling in one way or another with something. And you don't know what you sharing could help someone. Just to, like, a lot of times I saw like the best little analogy. It was like 2 people in the water and they're like, help. The other hand's like, high five. Like, I can support you. I can say yay, but like, I can't pull you up out of this because I'm freaking drowning too. But sometimes just like saying like, you're not alone, like I got you, is just so helpful. That's why I feel like talking about the injury and the depression, they don't talk about. It was so mind-boggling how many of us find out. They're like, yeah, depression hit. And I'm like, they told me as soon as blood hits your brain, you're gonna be depressed. And because I wasn't at first. I was, even with my eye crossed in, with my eye patch, I was like, even though my head felt like it was going to explode because I had so much built up spinal cord fluid, I still was just like, I'm so flipping grateful to be alive. And I'm so grateful that I know me. Like, I remember the first time one of my really good friends called me and talked on the phone, because she's in the healthcare, and she goes, I'm just so glad you're still you. She goes, I was so worried. She goes, I've just seen so many people, they lose their personality. And as you see, I'm over emotional now. I used to be able to control my emotions. I would never cry in front of people ever.
Oh my God.
But
I hate
now,
crying in front of people.
nobody likes it. I know, that's why I'm like, oh my, and that's why my head's like, and we don't like it when you do that.
But well, I'm gonna push a little bit. So like the first thing you learn in lifeguard training isn't like how to save somebody. It's how to get out of a situation where they're going to grab you, because the first thing you're trained to do is know that somebody who's drowning is going to grab anything they can and cling to it for dear life. People will literally drown the person trying to save them. That's what like depression does to you. That's what like feeling these feelings does. And like when you let them, when you don't understand that it has the ability to do that, and you don't give it the like proper distance and respect going into stuff, you're not ever gonna succeed. You're not ever gonna save yourself from drowning in it. You have to go into it knowing that it's this big monster that's gonna grab onto you. It's gonna happen to you at some point in your life, whether it's happened to you before, you're stuck in it now, or it's gonna happen in the future. But you can overcome it. You just have to know. Does that make any sense?
No,
think,
did you see me mouth I love you? Like, I was like, you just put much better like what was in my head, because that for the longest part, and I was understanding that my depression, my brain naturally goes to the worst with the anxiety and the depression, it automatically. But I know everyone's like, but you're so happy, because I work so hard at it and I focus on my gratitude and the things, because I do. There's some days, yes, I just want to lay in bed, and you're just like, and I call those, I'm like, I just don't want a life today. I just don't want to show up. I don't. And that's why I have thrown myself 100% into animals, because like yep, I got constantly, I mean, I will tell you 100%, 2020, my depression was so bad. I told Patrick's like, maybe you should get back on the antidepressants. And I was like, those made me suicidal. I am not going on those again. Like, absolutely not. I was like, I rescue another tortoise. So he got Georgia. Okay. So we had a little baby Georgia. And then a month passed and I was still not better. And he was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I need another tortoise. We got Biscuit. Okay. And then, yes. Because like, my head hurt, but I was like, oh, they need to go outside. They need the sunshine. Like, I can ignore my needs. I cannot water myself, but they always have water. And then also, I've now turned it into a habit of learning, like, they get water, I get water. Like, I have a snack, they have a snack. Like, I feel like when you reach out more to animals or other people, it helps you so much. I always feel better if I feel so crappy and I talk to someone else, and sometimes like just dumping that for a little bit and then hearing about theirs, like, you're just like, oh, thank you. Like, isn't it that we release oxytocin when we are sharing what's going on with you, even if it's like bad, you're still a little bit of your brain is like, oh, thank God you're like dumping some of this so I don't have to focus on all the time.
And when people respond, you get a dopamine rush.
There you go.
So it's both. It hits both. I've been on ADHD TikTok a lot lately, trying to understand things.
No, I'm glad. I love it. I learned so much on TikTok.
Oh, so much. TikTok is amazing. Also, if you guys don't feel like we have not done a single call to action or to like to connect with us, but if you guys do feel like you don't have somebody to talk to, like, please feel free to message us, drop some hearts or whatever, like whichever one it doesn't matter. We're all one team here. We all one love.
Yes.
Like, just message us, like, so you have somebody to talk to, because you are not alone. If you feel like you're being that drowned person,
yes,
reach out. Like, don't sit in your sadness alone. Like, there's such big communities out here that are willing to help you. You just have to be willing to take that step to take support. I was listening to a podcast today and she was talking about how, oh gosh, what was it? Oh, so like you have an awareness of things, right? Like you have an awareness that they're happening. And then you like, a lot of people just like jump to action instead of actually addressing the problem. You have to do that middle addressing the issue step before it. I just feel like you are the queen of that, like simplifying things down and finding that process. I just felt you'd really relate to that. Your whole story reminds me of that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what's so weird is like I talk about my story, but I still sometimes like, I don't even like fully process it sometimes, like, because I'll forget when I'm telling like a new survivor, like I'll say things and I'm just like, oh wow, yeah, that is like the fact I always kind of rush over. So while I was in the ICU for the brain surgery, basically they told me I was only in the hospital for 2 weeks. They said, actually I think it was only 10 days. Anyways, he goes, you literally did the most dangerous, the hardest part at home by yourself. He's like, so and they don't want to keep you in the hospital. And they had, when they had done the surgery, they put a line, whatever, or something. But basically they collapsed my radial artery. And when I was in the hospital, I was like, I know you guys are poking me with a lot of things, but like, man, my arm really hurts. And they're like, okay, we'll make a note. We'll get, someone ultrasound come by. And they came by and he goes, they're like, oh, and I'll show you, it was gross, nasty, bruised, but they collapsed my radial artery and I was getting told I was going to get to leave the hospital in 2 days. They found that and they were like, we might have to do surgery on your arm. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and my mom even, she was like, can she get a break? I was like, nope. But it was because I had to learn the really harsh lesson that when I say I'm kind of in pain, that's like somebody else saying it's a 15 or a 20. Like, my pain tolerance is completely high and different. And I don't know why. Like, I was just told, I was a little big tomboy. So, like, rough and tumble. And it was just suck it up, buttercup. Like, get over it, little baby.
I grew up with the neighborhood boys. They were all like 3 years older than me. And like, that was it. Like, we grew up playing together. Like,
you do. And I wanted to, but I was like the one with all my cousins. Like, my uncle would be like, who's going to go across that bridge? Like, who wants? And I'd be like, me. Like, I'm going to show these boys up. They don't want me to hang out with them, but watch me do it. So they did that. And that was another time I go, so again, not very trusting of doctors. Like, hey, oh, cool, you did that. And then when I actually got out of the hospital, I don't like pain pills, so I was trying to get off them and wean myself as far down. And I was like, this still hurts like a lot. And I actually had the nurse practitioner, she told me, well, some people, they take the pain pills and then they just really like them. And I was like, if you're calling me a drug addict, I'm not a drug addict. I'm like, I'm telling you. And I go, and if my charts don't show it, when I say something hurts, we probably should get it scanned. We should probably check on me. So I had her tell me that. And I was like, I don't want to go in there. And then sure enough, they did a scan and he's like, oh my God, you have so much built up spinal cord fluid. We might have to put a stent in. So every month I was getting scanned for that because it was so full. So it was like so many things that happened at once that I still don't even think like I have processed like some of those things. I'm just like, well, because I'm like, I don't have time to. I'm constantly having to recover and work on like today. It's kind of crazy.
But sorry, that's such a good mindset to have. Like, you're focusing on today is the best thing any of us can do. If we wait on tomorrow or are too focused on, or wait on yesterday and look or like always looking ahead to tomorrow, then you're never going to get anything done. You're never going to just do the thing messy. You're going to always be like stuck in that like perfection, like FOMO phase.
Yes. And so
like,
many things,
in a way, like it brings everything like to center. Also, like, talk about a 10-day challenge. That's all I could think as I'm watching you sip your keto up.
I'm so glad you said. I was like, my head, like, I'm telling you, it's so much happier now. Like, it's like, hey, unicorn, slam it. But
yep.
I think, oh, what'd you say? I can honestly say, oh my God, Peggy, for sister-in-law, because you passed away. So many people, it's crazy, I meet are like, I have someone, it's 1 in 15. That's
wow,
kind of a lot. And I just think that everybody only thinks it happens. I know it regular happens to 40 and above, but because I'm in the young brain injury, a stroke community, there's so many of us. And it's like, you just get misdiagnosed because you're so young. So I think knowing those things and being like, no, I have to advocate for myself just really means a lot and changes things.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Well, I think that's like the perfect place to end it.
Yeah.
I feel like that we just went full circle. I love you so stinking much. I cannot wait to come put a mermaid tail on. I don't even care if we just do it in your pool. Like, I'm just
no,
gonna
and that's
hang
what
out.
I tell people. Like, I can't wait. We're crowns. Like, even if we're just sitting, we're gonna be by the pool. Then we need a little ocean. Like, I can't wait. A little Disney also. Like, once Disneyland opens.
Yes. Yes.
Please.
I love you all. Again, please reach out to us. You are never alone, and always advocate for yourself. If you're scared to, message us. We'll advocate for you.
Absolutely, we will. I love that you said that. Thank you, guys. Bye.